So, good morning, everyone that follows me. Welcome to my mini interview selection, which I'm currently putting on YouTube and my socials. Today, Monday morning, I have the pleasure of being with Gary Riches, who is local business owner. He runs and owns and has done for 7.5 years Driver Hire Colchester, which is a global franchise. So, welcome, Gary. Thank you for joining me.
Good morning, Sam.
How are you?
I'm very good, thank you.
Good. I've bullied Gary into doing this really because I have known Gary for a number of years now, and he is one of the most motivated and positive business owners that I have ever come across. He's always smiling, always happy, and what he loves, same as me, is people and sales. And we always share the same thoughts, Gary, don't we, on how to do sales, which we believe is all through relationships and people.
Relationship building is everything in sales.
Yeah. So because of Gary's positivity, I asked him to come on today because what I'm hearing most now as we begin week 6 is that people's motivation is really suffering. And the word I'm hearing the most at the moment is, Sam, I feel flat. So, Mr. Motivator, tell us your secret. Tell us how you stay positive and what you do to motivate yourself.
I've always been positive anyway. My glass has always been half full, never half empty. So Monday to Friday, I always get up. I always put my driver hire uniform on. I'm always, well, since the lockdown, want for better wording, I'm at my computer from 7 o'clock in the morning. I look at it for different reasons now. I look at it for cash flow, who's paying me, how many shifts we've got going on, what's happened overnight, because I'm not involved the day-to-day overnight. Shani's still doing that for me. And I'm just catching up with a few emails and things like that. That's what I do first of all. But what I do for myself, I phone up 2 to 3 drivers every day. I do it for my own sanity because I've got to keep busy. I've always been a busy person. So these drivers might be, I've furloughed them because of age or because they've been on long-term contracts. And I just have a chat to them. I'd had a chat with a guy called Richard. Jane will know him. He's 70 years old. He wanted to carry on working and I advised him not to. So he's quite happy sitting at home. Well, he's not, he hates it, but just having a 20-minute chat with him, it's things like that, just talking about different things in life. But I also do the same with clients. The ones who are open, I contact them for a chat. I'm not there for selling. Selling is not the right time to do anything at this moment in time, in my view. It's just saying what's happening. And sometimes I do it to moan how I feel about life, because over the years I've been with these clients, they understand how I work and feel, and they're quite happy to listen to me. And we all need to moan sometimes. And also, I've got staff working for me, and I must be positive for them. And that's the thing I really, really work on, that you must be positive. We have Zoom meetings, I would like to say every day, but that's dropped off. We phone call every day, but we Zoom 3 to 4 times a week. Because if there's not much to talk about, what's the use of just Zoom for the sake of it? Because it's hard work just doing that. But we do phone every day. But it's just trying to stay in a routine.
So first of all, you get up and you get dressed for work because that puts you in the right mindset. And I have to say, I do exactly the same. Yeah. We were having a chat earlier and I was saying that I couldn't just sit here in my hoodie or my lounge wear, if you like, because up here, it just wouldn't feel the same. You know, everybody's different and everybody has to do what's right for them. But for me, I have to get dressed for work every morning, the same as you. Okay, so again, you and I are very similar in terms of we feed off other people's energy. We like people and we like, you know, liaising and getting energy from others, which is why I believe what you're saying is you're making these phone calls. So you're doing it for your own motivation as well as theirs.
Yeah, very much so. I say I do it for my sanity, but I do it because I feel good about it. I've got one driver who's stuck in Australia. He was out there seeing his son, and I didn't realise he was stuck out there. We'd done an email campaign. What are you doing? This is what we're stuck. He said, Gary, I'm still stuck in Australia. And and I spoke to him Friday. So we had a chat, and it brought a tear to my eye, to be honest, just listening to him and everything else from that point of view, because he was chuffed a bit. So I'd phoned him in Australia. And I spent 20 minutes on the phone. God knows how much it cost me on my mobile bill, but was it worth it? Yeah, it was. Just to hear him, he was really pleased that I'd made the effort to call him.
And I should say, well, hopefully you don't mind me saying that you've just shared with me that your revenue is dramatically down. Not just slightly, not just a little bit, but dramatically down. Mm-hmm. Yet I'm talking to you being Mr. Positive. So for those who are feeling the same, what am I going to do? Revenue's hit. What tips can you give them, Gary, on how to stay positive and how to motivate themselves throughout the next few weeks?
Well, I've got to say, I'm quite lucky in certain ways. Being a franchise has disadvantages. Paying out fees for a franchise has disadvantages. We have a league table, and competing against other franchises in the other offices has a massive impact for me. I know it's daft, sort of certain things, just seeing how you're going to be. So last week in the league table, we were 6. Colchester as an office, we're a very small office. Geographically, we're very small. We've got no big players on our area. And to be 6 in the country is really good. Especially, as you said, we are down drastically. We're down a lot. This week, our invoicing, I think, will be number 1 in the country. Wow. Only because Colchester Borough Council have stolen a load of drivers. Unintentionally, they just didn't understand the system. So they've got a little bill coming to them. So, but we've got round that. They're also spending a lot of money with us as well. They're very apologetic. But there's lots of things going on there as well. But how do you stay motivated? Just mindset. You can't forget about work. I get up. Do I do social media? I outsource mine. I haven't stopped outsourcing it with Chris Bullman still. I still send information to him on a regular basis. Have I thought about bringing it back in-house? Yes. But what happens when we're busy again in 3 months' time? It'll be the first thing I'll drop. Pointless. Absolutely pointless. So just liaise with him still. And that's what I constantly do. And we have information backwards and forwards, so that helps motivate me as well, pushing that side of the business.
Do you think it's because I believe that you're quite self-aware? So what I mean by that is you know your triggers, you know what you need to stay motivated. So I need energy, I need balance, and I need something productive to make me feel positive. So knowing that about myself, I know the triggers that I need to pull on to make me feel in the right mindset.
I most probably do without realising it.
Very self-aware you are, whether you realise that or not. And like we were chatting earlier, and you said, you remain active, you've lost lots of weight because you've been doing lots of exercise. That gets you in the right frame of mind.
Yeah. I do. I mean, I bought a Peloton bike just after Christmas, much to my wife's annoyance, but she's now saying it's the best thing we've bought because we spend a lot of time on it. I woke up Thursday morning, listened to the BBC News, and there was I can't think of her name now. The Machen doing the big biking, which is 100 miles in a day. I've never personally rode 100 miles in a day, and biking indoors is really hard work. So I set ourselves a family challenge. When I've got children, mine are 18 and 20, and I woke up and I said, right, my children have a hard life living with me, by the way. They are up at 9 o'clock. They have to have a routine Monday to Friday as well. They're not getting away with nothing, so they suffer. They're out here doing jobs and everything else. So they had to get involved. I'd done 50 miles indoors, and they had to divide the 17 and a bit miles between those two and my wife. So we just took it in turns. We staggered it, and we do a lot of different things between us to keep things going. And we do motivate each other with fitness and so on. But we laugh with the kids on the fitness side. I'm 53, so is my wife, and we're fitter than our teenage children. But you wouldn't think so if you actually saw the size of me, actually, Sam. I might have lost weight, so I'm still fat.
Rubbish. I think it's because we're more aware, aren't we? And I think as teenagers, we are invincible at that age. And because, I don't know, for my 15-year-old is very tall and slim, therefore healthy and fit.
Yeah, and they think that, and they think they go on for ages and so on, but life catches up with you. I mean,
don't we know it? Don't we know it? Okay, so the other thing that I wanted to talk to you about today was money, because there's two things that I'm hearing are really holding us back right now. And one is being flat, and the other one is being paid. And we had a little chat earlier, didn't we, about this and how it's affecting you and what you're doing. But I think it's a real toughie right now, because people are struggling with the cash flow hit and their own morals, and how hard do you chase people for money? How are you finding this? Have you experienced people not paying you?
Yeah, that's a big issue with cash flow. Well, it's not. We're okay for cash flow. Let's change the wording of that. And I monitor it more now than I've ever done, because people are very slow in paying this compared to before. We do invoice factor, but if they don't pay within a certain time, we do lose that invoice factoring.
Yeah.
The issue we're having is we can't get hold of people to pay.
Yes.
Where they're furloughed certain staffs. The small firms are fine. We can get hold of them. We'll talk to them. They'll liaise. It's the big firms. They're the ones who have disappeared. They really are hard work to get hold of. They're the really ones. They're the ones basically not going bust, but they're the hardest ones that will cause the issue the next 2 to 3 months if they don't come out and start talking to us.
I agree. I think in the SME world, there's almost like a little bit of mutual respect for each other, and it's like we'll keep talking to each other, and hopefully, if the lines of communication are good and relationships are good, which is the one thing that you are very good at, then we can be honest and transparent and have that conversation with one business owner to another and say, look, I'm struggling here. What can you do to help me? Even if I take a part payment, or we set up a plan, or what's your situation? Let's be honest. Let's talk about it. But you're right, with the bigger boys, they've furloughed their accounts team. You can't get through to speak to anybody to have that conversation. So what are you doing? Are you going in hard with those?
It's hard. Depends if we're working with them still or not. This is the question. If they're still working, I've stayed working with them because they need us more than anything else, because the long-term future. They've got to come out and play with us eventually again properly, then they will do. I think you've just got to be sensible about it from that point of view. We're quite lucky. We had a really good year. We had good money in the bank. So that has helped us. Hasn't helped us with the business interruption loan, because the bank isn't interested in chatting to us properly because we're not desperate. But it's... So I don't think we're panicking. It's just... I don't know the easiest way to describe it.
It's a tough line, isn't it? Because I think if you've got cash reserves in your business, do you want to relinquish those reserves to pay others when we don't yet know how long we've got to ride this wave? And I think that's what's holding people back in SME world. I think, we're looking at that line. How much am I going to need this, as to how much does somebody else need it, and whose need is bigger, mine or theirs?
Yeah. Well, so from my point of view, I pay all my suppliers, so why shouldn't we get paid? I haven't held back on anyone, with the exception of my rent. And it's only because he gave notice in February to us without actually discussing it with us. He just gave us a letter, and we've only done that because he had no loyalty. We could happily pay him, but that was only a different mindset.
So you're playing the game there. But in general
Yes.
terms, with businesses, then you feel like it's the right and respectful thing to do to pay somebody on time as you normally would.
Yeah, because we haven't got the cash flow not to pay them, so we wouldn't think about any different. So if our cleaner's been in, we would pay the cleaner. We don't have massive outgoings. The biggest outgoing is most probably me, to be honest, and I've taken the biggest hit.
So where do you sit in, this is what people are asking me, so Sam, how hard do I go right now? Do I withdraw services because somebody's not paying me, or I'm fighting with my morals on this? Where do I sit?
I would go with gut feeling, where your personal relationship is with that firm. I've got a business partner who's much more okay on the money side of the business. She would be, no, don't supply. And I would be, that's make the decision on where we would be in 3 to 6 months with them. And I would overrule her and make the decision, no, they've got to need us in the long run. This is better for us, the business, in the long term than the short-term panic. That's be my feeling on it.
Yeah. So my advice to clients has been that you've got to think of it long term. You've got to think about the long-term relationship, but also you've got to consider, are these customers the right ones for you? Because if they don't respect you enough to support you in these times, are they the right customers for you moving forward?
That's true in certain ways, but there's always ones who are bad payers anyway. I'm not going to say any names, but I've got some big clients who are dreadful payers. I will say name, Angler Water, good example, dreadful payers, never pay.
Name and shame, name and shame, Angler Water.
Name and shame, Angler Water, dreadful payers, will never pay on time. They're 60 to 90 days. We'll get our money. It's just very slow paying.
Yeah, but there are ones, as you say, that play the game and play the game well always. But yes. I'm talking about more SMEs, that this is not their normal behaviour. These are ones that would normally pay on time, but right now are not.
Yeah. Work with them.
Such a toughie, isn't it? Such a toughie.
Yeah, I'd carry. I've got one I wouldn't work with. Out of all the ones who've asked for advice, I had one I did say I wouldn't work with unless I had a payment in from him, and he did send me some money in. So I just took actually I run a program on if I could get their invoices insured. So I've never insured anyone's invoices before, and I'm not going to do it. I just had a quick look, and they wouldn't touch them. So I thought there's a reason they won't touch them. Right. So I just asked for some more money. They owe me quite a bit still, but I just lessened my risk, shall we say.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's like, liking it to, let's just say, EasyJet and Sports Direct and people like that, absolutely flouted the rules and still are. I mean, EasyJet are sitting way outside their regulations. They're in breach of their own regulations in paying people within 7 days. Now, for me, I think that we should be voting with our feet. Once all this is over, we should think about the people that have supported the country, the economy, us, business owners, and those are the people that we should have good relationships with moving forward, and spend our money with. And I think the people that aren't paying you now, even though you might want to support them and service them now, they're the ones that I'll be looking to get rid of when the time is right for you.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we go back to your airlines. I mean, I was at a holiday book with Jet2, and they refunded it. They wouldn't do anything till 3 days before, but 3 days before, yes, they did. Got the money in the account. Brilliant. 2 years ago, I had a problem with Ryanair. I haven't used them since on a point of principle, and I still wouldn't. And you're right. You should vote with your feet because it's customer service. Yeah. They don't care about us.
Exactly. That's how you feel, isn't it? That's how you feel. Okay, so just to round this up then, Gary, what would you say, give me your top tips, what would you say to people in business right now? We know we've got this week and we know we've got next week as a bare minimum before lockdown will be lifted, and we don't know how much longer. What are your tips to survive lockdown for the next 2 weeks?
Get up every morning, get dressed for work, shower, change, have your breakfast, get on the computer. Even if you only do 15 minutes of work, do that first of all, and you've started the day in the right mindset. You might have nothing else to do. but start in the right mindset. Phone up all your staff, even if they're furloughed, give them a chat, have a Zoom, keep in contact with them, phone up the clients. Even if they're furloughed, they still want to chat because they're bored. If you're bored, they're bored. Just keep in contact with people. Don't be scared of phoning them or messaging them. I had a message with a client yesterday, just, oh, how are you sort of thing, and we spent 20 minutes backwards and forwards, little messaging contact. It doesn't necessarily have to be a phone call. It can be, this one was text, and he ended up showing pictures of his new puppies he's got and so on. But it was just nice. Just be in contact with people. Don't forget about them, then they won't forget about you.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. Don't forget about them and they won't forget about you. Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you ever so much for sharing your thoughts today on mindset and money. Good luck with everything over the next couple of weeks. I'm not going to say stay in touch because I know you will, because that's one of your strengths and that's why you're so successful. But thank you, Gary Richards, for joining me, and I will look forward to seeing you soon.
Lovely. Thank you for dragging me on here.
You're welcome.